Hi, and I would like to give you a warm welcome for joining me in the Anxiety Relief webinar, where we're going to be looking at some practical strategies for managing anxiety on a day-to-day basis and on three specific aspects. So today I would like you to imagine if you were able to feel calm and strong despite the following: having a busy family and a busy schedule, even if you've noticed something was different about your body, and even if other people are critical with you or even maybe dismissive. At this point, this might sound a little bit far-fetched. How can I be feeling calm and strong in all these circumstances? Maybe that doesn't sound very much like you. And maybe what you're really feeling is that you are often worried about time and feeling constantly exhausted. Maybe you panic when you see that there is something different about your body. And maybe you feel like you're not good enough for people. You're not good enough as a mom, as a wife, or as a partner. If you feel any of those, then I really want you to know something important. You are not alone. When we feel anxiety and when we struggle with it, we often feel like we are the only person in the world and that other people can't understand us. But the reality is that you're not alone. And the number of people that have registered today for this webinar can really vouch for that. Myself, I made a few mistakes that led me to have a lot of anxiety struggles. One of them was that I didn't make enough time to take care of myself and recharge my batteries. So when I was exhausted, then unfortunately anxiety would take over and control my life. Also, I spent too much time checking up Google symptoms. Google can be really a great source of information, but unfortunately as well, it can be a way for us to fuel our health anxiety. And a third area where I made mistakes is I was constantly trying to please other people and put myself last. So my offer for you today is that I want to give you the tools to manage your anxiety and be more aware of how anxiety might be affecting your life. Sometimes we have high functioning anxiety, and that means that anxiety is creeping in and we don't even know it. I would like you to be equipped with practical strategies to deal with anxiety on a day-to-day basis. And also, I would like you to be able to feel calmer, knowing that you can manage your anxiety effectively. So, you are in the right place if what you're looking for is to learn strategies to manage your anxiety effectively. And if you want to feel stronger and calmer, even when life throws curveballs at you. On the other hand, you wouldn't be in the right place if what you are expecting is a quick fix and with results that happen immediately. Or if you would want to completely get rid of your anxiety. Because sometimes that's not possible. Anxiety may be part of you just like it's a part of me. And what we need to focus on is on learning how to manage it rather than trying desperately to get rid of it. So what are we going to do today? Well, here's the plan. First, I would like to draw on some real-life examples so that we can really understand the mechanism and what can happen with different types of anxiety. And then, in a second time, we'll be looking at three specific types of anxiety: time anxiety, health anxiety, and relationship anxiety. And as we look at those three, what we'll learn is some practical strategies that you can use straight away. Also, I would like to share with you a moment of mindfulness, because mindfulness is an essential tool to help us overcome anxiety struggles. And finally, I'll answer your questions at the end. If you have questions about the workshop or if you have questions about anxiety in general, then I will be there to answer your question. So let's get started. The first thing I would like to say is that if you stay until the end, then I will be sending you my brand new anxiety workbook with anxiety as practical strategies, including the ones that we have seen in this webinar today, and additional content. There'll be worksheets for you to reflect on and checklists, and even at the end, if we have a little bit of time left, we can have a sneak peek for it. Another thing also that I would like to share with you is a special bonus. I would like to give you a special discount today for attending this webinar on my anxiety relief workshop. We'll discuss a little bit more about it towards the end of the webinar. But at this point, you might wonder, I don't even know this person. Why should I listen to them? Well, I would like you to know that I've been exactly where you are. Anxiety has been a big part of my life for a very long time. The difference is that I've learned how to make the necessary changes so that anxiety wouldn't control my life anymore. And those practical strategies that I've used, those changes that I've made, I would like to share them with you. But before we go any further, I would like to ask you a question. I would like you to say yes in the chat if any of the followings that we're going to discuss sounds like you. Are these things that you can relate to? The first one that we're going to look at is about time anxiety. Do you ever procrastinate when you have a big important task? Do you often arrive so early for things that you wonder whether you might have the wrong date or the wrong time, or if anybody else is going to show up? Or do you have too many things planned in your day and you end up completely exhausted? About health anxiety. Have you lost track of how many times you're checking Google for your symptoms? Do you know everything about specific conditions? Do you regularly maybe check your heart rate, your blood pressure, or any other aspect of your health? And maybe you even tell yourself, I want to make it until 82. It's just not in my family. I remember having those similar thoughts in my mind. How about relationships? Do you constantly worry about your children? Do you bend backwards for other people even when you don't want to? And do you wonder if after all these years your partner still loves you? And deep down you feel like you should be doing more, but you don't always know what to do? Well, you're not alone. I really would like to extend to you a warm welcome. My name is Aurélie. I'm a counselor, a mindfulness teacher, and I provide online training to help people develop that sweet balance between a healthy body and a healthy mind. But here's a little bit more about me. I wasn't always calm and confident or even sociable. I'm a neurodiverse person and I have been diagnosed with autism, ADHD, and dyslexia later in life a few years ago. I have 3 children of my own and 2 stepchildren. This means that we have a blended family and that comes with its own challenges. Also, I've been running a business with my husband for well over 10 years, and because we are self-employed, again, that brings a lot of anxiety struggles into our lives. Anxiety has been part of my life since childhood, even though I didn't really know what it was back then. And as a highly sensitive person, I will always be anxious for a reason or another. But the difference, as I was saying earlier, is that anxiety no longer manages my life. So at this point, it might be nice to know that I have some experience around anxiety, but am I qualified in any way? Here, I would like to share the fact that I belong to a professional body, the Complementary Medical Association. and they are in charge of checking my accreditation, but also my ethical practices. I've also been trained by the CPCAB. The CPCAB is recognized in the UK as being the best training body for counselors, with an intensive 3-year core training and hundreds of hours of supervised practice, including in-depth examination. Before we go any further, if you would like to have a chance to win my anxiety relief workshop for free, then I invite you to share a screenshot of this webinar on Instagram. One thing, don't forget to tag me, otherwise I wouldn't know. And I really would like to thank you for your support. As per our plan, first I would like to take you through real life scenarios about anxiety. And the first one is related to time anxiety. I was invited to a night out with a few girls, and it took me all week to get myself ready for it. And eventually it took all the energy I had just to get out the door. Of course, I was ready early and I left early and I arrived early. And this means that when I arrived, I was on my own and I started doubting myself, feeling like, oh, did I get the wrong date? Did I get the wrong time? Is anybody even gonna bother? And I considered at that point going back home. My anxiety was so overwhelming that I was prepared to give up a nice evening with girls out just because I was anxious. This is a real life story that happened to me a few years ago. Around health anxiety, I have struggled here as well. This is another real life example that I personally experienced. I was walking up the hill, not far from my house, and to be fair, the hill is not really steep. Suddenly, my heart started to pound. I felt a sharp pain, intense in my chest, and I stopped myself for a little break. I started to think, oh, am I having a heart attack? And even though it got better after a few minutes, as soon as I got back home, I spent countless hours on Google trying to check it out. Around relationships, this is the experience I would like to share with you. A few years back, I agreed, I don't know how, to organize a kids' party. And other people seemed to be having fun with their kids, but I was really worried that my children might be causing trouble again. And people, when I was talking to them, they would give me their opinion about how to do things right for the party and for my kids. They were well intentioned, but this really made me feel very down. Back home, all the kids were hyper. I was exhausted, and my husband, he wasn't in a good mood. At this point, I really felt lonely, and somehow I felt like he didn't really love me anymore the way he used to. With those different examples of what I went through with anxiety, it wasn't long until I was completely burned out. And my anxiety didn't get any better. Actually, it got worse. And I wanted to cry every single day. Now, if I'm here today, it's because I've managed to recover. But it took a long time. I finally found the strategies to overcome my anxiety and manage it effectively. But there is a few things I had to learn. Mainly, I had to accept that I had anxiety. I had to learn where my anxiety was and that some of the behaviors that I had was because of anxiety. Next, I had to plan ahead and start building strategies. At times I had to start making those strategies. I didn't have them ready-made. I didn't have them offered to me. Then I had to learn how to bring peace and calm in my life, but on demand, despite what was happening around me. And finally, I had to ask the support of other people when I needed it. And I found that really challenging. But over time, I learned how to become the master over my anxiety. And everything is different now and so much better. What I can do is that I can take time to care for myself so that I can recharge my batteries. Your phone, it doesn't run on a flat battery. And really, this is the same for you. With regards to my health, I've learned how to include a reasonably healthy lifestyle and a little bit of exercise. Just enough so that I would know that through a healthier lifestyle, I wouldn't have to be overly concerned. And when it comes to my relationships, I've learned how to communicate effectively and create strong bonds, and learn also to accept that I am loved and I'm deserving and worthy of that love. I have such a strong relationship with my husband, with open communication, and an amazing relationship with my children as well. And I'm really proud of them. I know I'm not a perfect mom, but I know they don't hold it back against me. So today, I really want to share with you the practical strategies that helped me. They were not given to me, those strategies. I had to learn them and I had to troubleshoot them by myself. And a lot of them I had to devise on my own. Yes, social media helped, and other things helped, and studying really helped. But today, I would like to save you all that trouble, so that you don't have to spend all your time and your energy and your finances in order to be able to overcome your anxiety struggles. Are you ready to become the master of your own anxiety? Well, let's look deeper into practical strategies that we can use to overcome, first, time anxiety. For each type of anxiety, I've got 4 strategies to propose to you. For time anxiety, the first strategy that I would like to offer is to buddy up. Enroll the support of someone to help you, to make a realistic schedule, and learn how to accept their input. Next, make a plan. Set up a schedule and commit to it. Commitment is really important. Include some procrastination time, because the reality is that you might not be able to avoid it, but you can put a limit around it. Be honest with yourself. High functioning anxiety can be very sneaky. So it's important to be honest with oneself and to realize that yes, I'm doing this or I'm doing that because I feel anxious. And finally, don't forget to take some breaks. Take time for yourself and connect with people around you. This will keep your mind busy and it will help you relax. Now, if you've been with me on the anxiety workshop, you know how positive self-talk is so important. So here are some examples that you can use around time anxiety. I made a realistic schedule and I will be on time. I can relax. I have one alarm that is set for getting ready and another one to get me going. I can rely on my alarms. I know I'm anxious about time, and that's all it is. I can surf this feeling until it passes. How about health anxiety? My first strategy for you is to stop. Yes, stop searching Google. Limit yourself to exploring the most reassuring scenario. Once you get the most reassuring scenario, just stop yourself there. Check it up. If you've got something that you're a little bit worried about, go to your healthcare provider. Have a general checkup about your health. If there is anything that should be pointed out, they will let you know. And if there is any reason for concern, then act now. Do something about it. Have a healthier diet maybe and a little bit of exercise. Don't let it become worse. And finally, keep track. If you keep a journal of your health symptoms and you keep track of them, then you can detect real changes. the ones that are really cause maybe for you to action on it. And if you're worried, share also with somebody else, because then they can help you decide what should be the next step. Here's some positive self-talk for you. It feels big right now, but it's likely something small, and I will look for a reassuring explanation. If something was off, other people would likely notice, and I can ask for their opinion. I try my best to take care of my health, and I'm not perfect, but generally I am healthy. I can ask my healthcare provider if they have any other suggestion. If something was up with me, then I have a plan. Because sometimes health anxiety is because we are worried of what would happen for people that we care about, for people we are responsible for. But if we have a plan around that, like for children, for example, then we can ease our anxiety around our health. Now, relationship anxiety. My first advice for you is be your own judge. The reality is that you are the sole expert of your life. No one else has walked in your shoes. No one else is the expert for you. But you're also the expert in your family. Trust your own judgment, not that of other people. Base your standard and your values on the Bible and judge yourself by those. Actions and not words. What I mean by that is when you have people that care about you, more than their words, look at their actions. Look at what they do because they care about you and reassure yourself. Value their opinion. Value the opinion of people that truly matter in your life. The ones that will give you constructive feedback and that would be kind and supportive. The other people, the loose friends that have an opinion about everything, my advice is ditch them. Their opinion don't matter. Finally, you might need to dig a little deeper. Anxiety sometimes is very deeply rooted. You might have an anxious attachment style, for example, and you might want to explore the root cause of it. So here's some positive self-talk around relationship anxiety. I love them and they love me. That's an affirmation, not a question. We don't always say it, but they show it to me when, and then you can fill in the gap. Fill in the gap with 2 or 3 real examples of how people show you that they care. When I'm tired, I don't have to say yes. Because people who truly care, they will understand. I'm anxious about my relationships in general, and it's likely because in the past I didn't always feel safe. But today, I am my safe place. Even when my loved ones are upset and angry, they still love me. The reality is, sometimes when we talk to our children, we might be really upset. Or when we talk to our partner, we might be upset and angry, even with them. But we still love them, and the reverse is true. Now, it's the time for our next section in this webinar, a time for mindfulness. So I'll see you afterwards. Let's try something. A moment of mindfulness to help you bring back calm and peace in your mind. Begin by finding a comfortable seated position. I invite you to lower your gaze or even close your eyes if it feels comfortable. Intentionally turn your attention inwards, allowing yourself to become aware of your breath. Notice the movement of your chest and belly as you inhale and as you exhale. Be curious for a moment. Ask yourself, is my breath deep or shallow? Natural or more intentional? Does it carry any tensions I have been holding on to? Life can be filled with struggles and tensions. Imagine your mind as the surface of a pond. When it is turbulent, the reflections are distorted. But when the mind is calm, the reflections are clear. Just as the water settles when left undisturbed, so does the mind when allowed to be still. As you sit here, breathing calmly, remember that you have the power to settle the waters of your mind. Embrace this stillness within you, knowing that it is always accessible, regardless of external circumstances. Now, gradually bring your awareness back to the room. Wiggle your fingers and toes, and when you are ready, gently open your eyes. Carry this sense of peace with you as you continue your day, knowing that you can return to this calm space whenever you need. Thank you for participating in this mindfulness session. I hope you have found it useful. Now, I would like to share with you 4 keys to success when it comes to managing anxiety. The first one is to accept. Accept that you actually have anxiety, even in those areas that you might not have noticed before. Acceptance is really important. It's a reason, but it's not an excuse. But once we acknowledge that we have anxiety, we can work at it. Next, tolerate. Life will always throw curveballs at us, and we can't avoid them, but we need to learn how to become more resilient to them. So practice and use mindfulness like the session that we've just had in order to bring peace and calm back in your life on demand. Next, change. Yes, learn how to make those little changes that will help you become more resilient to anxiety and manage it effectively. Commit yourself to using the strategies that you've learned, like the ones today. And seek support. The people that recover the most quickly from anxiety are the ones that actually share with others and seek support for themselves. Now, if you would like to learn more about anxiety, I would like to invite you to my anxiety relief workshop. It will include topics that will help you understand anxiety, hopefully like a pro. It will also give you management skills, the ones that we use in therapy. And it will give you practical advice that truly works. So the workshop itself is divided into 8 modules. In module 1, we look at anxiety and what it is and how it affects you personally. In the second module, we look at the causes of anxiety, where does it come from, the cycle around anxiety, and the triggers. And we will also look at how it started for you. In module 3, we'll be looking at the physical symptoms of anxiety and our nervous system. Module 4 is focused on the mind, with the cognitive distortions and unhelpful core beliefs that we might hold. In module 5, we look at anxiety and behaviors. And we will learn some grounding techniques so that we can bring peace and calm back into our lives. Module 6 is all about the body and mind connection, and we'll explore a little bit about the brain, about nutrition, and about sleep. Module 7 look outward a little bit more about how to support yourself, other people, including children, to manage anxiety effectively. Finally, in Module 8, we look forward. We look at planning ahead to manage anxiety effectively in the long run. Now, this course is all based on the self-paced content. The advantage of this is that you can just look at the different videos, and there is over hundreds of them, and they're all broken down in small chunks so that it's easy to digest. And also you have the accompanying scripts. That means that you can benefit from the content, whatever your learning style. And that's not all. The workshop also comes with 8 beautifully designed workbooks with additional content and reflective worksheets to help you work through your anxiety. And if this was not enough, I'm happy to also say that you can join the anxiety support group where additional content is added regularly, that you will have also access to an anxiety journal to help you work through your own anxiety, and one-to-one online support. Just that on its own is an amazing value. All of this, you'll say, oh, but it seems like it's really expensive. Well, today, I'm very happy to say that I am offering you this because you've joined the webinar for a discounted price of £99. And for £99, you get all the videos, all the workbooks, the anxiety journal, the support group, and the one-to-one online support. Do you have any questions around the webinar itself, around anxiety and the different aspects that we've discussed, or even about the website? So when was I diagnosed with neurodiversity? I was diagnosed with neurodiversity a few years ago, but I already knew I was neurodiverse in the sense that because my children have been diagnosed with autism and ADHD, the doctor back then had already given me like a hint that most likely it was coming from my side of the family. I ignored it for many years, but when I started to realize how much it had an impact on my life, then I started applying for an official diagnosis. I received my official diagnosis after quite some wait, as you can imagine, a couple of years ago, and I've been able to learn so much about it. It's made a life-transforming experience for me. About anxiety, how did I learn how to manage my own anxiety? I wanted to seek some support, but support can be really expensive. I know, for example, that getting a counselor, especially now, can be like £60, £70 plus, and I couldn't afford that. So I went for an NHS CBT course, but unfortunately with me, it was maybe too narrow in their offering, and I didn't get much out of that. I also realized that anxiety is not just about your thoughts, and as a result, CBT was not very helpful back then. So I started doing my own research, and social media has helped, of course, but I also had to go through many courses and trainings, and through my counseling training, I've learned a lot more. And I've also been able to draw from other people's experiences when I came across people that also themselves struggled with anxiety. I also learned the connection between neurodiversity and anxiety, and that was really helpful. My husband also suffers from anxiety, and as I got to understand his side of anxiety, I was also able to draw on that in order to help myself. So there was a lot of things that were all integrated together. It took me a long time to develop all those different strategies around anxiety, and that's why I'm putting them all together in my course now so that I can share it with you. Now, maybe you are still looking at the course and there are some things that might be holding you back, and I really wanted to address that with you right now. Sometimes we can feel like simple solutions, it's too good to be true, especially for a problem as big as anxiety struggle. But the reality is that sometimes small solutions are the one that works best. And I would like to share with you that passage from the Bible where Naaman is asked to go and see the prophet, and the prophet tells him, like, in order to heal, he just need to go and dip himself in the water of the Jordan for 7 times. Naaman's not really happy about this, and he doesn't want to do it because it looks like too much of a simple solution. And yet, it worked. So don't let yourself be put off. If you think, oh, these solutions are too simple and they are not going to work for me, then maybe learn how to actually change that thinking and go like, I will try it anyway. I haven't got nothing to lose. Another thing that held me back for some times was the idea that there was something wrong with me. And if there was something that was really wrong with me, it couldn't be changed because it was me. It couldn't be further from the truth. I'm yet to see a child that is born with anxiety. Children are born with needs, and when those are not being met adequately, then they become anxious. Anxiety is a learned pattern, especially when it becomes a struggle. It's a natural reaction, but that natural reaction can become dysregulated over time. So it's not you 100%. Anxiety might be part of you, but it's not who you are. And this can change. So don't let this hold you back. One last thing also that I was struggling with is the idea that I wanted things to change, but I didn't really want to change me too much. But as Einstein told us in the past, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you just can't expect to have a different result. So if you want something to change in your life now, especially around anxiety, then you have to start somewhere. Start with you. Now, you might tell me, I'm still not sure if this course is any good. And I would like to thank Rachel for kindly agreeing to share her experience with you.
For me, the course has helped me gain a better understanding of how the brain works, but also we can tend to forget things and we need the reminders. So I love the fact that it's accessible, that I've paid for it, I can go back over it. So that's really valuable. I also feel that it would benefit a lot of other people, shared little gems from it. I think that everybody should avail themselves of it, really, just to have a better grasp on how to manage their own emotions and anxiety for everyday life at the end of this system.
I would like to thank Rachel again for this amazing feedback. But sometimes I understand money can come in the way. So today I sell this webinar for £99, but you have also the option of 2 payments of £50. And this hopefully can make it a little bit more manageable for you. When you take the option of a payment plan, £50, then you get access to all the lessons, all the additional content, and also the online support. And all this you gain access straight away. My wish for you is that you can say yes to relief from anxiety. And maybe have some fun at the same time too. And one more thing I'd like to share with you is when you purchase the course today or later, you will have access to the course and the workbooks and the additional content forever. It's a one-time purchase and you keep it for as long as you need. Also, because you keep it forever, if there is any updates that come throughout, then you'll also have access to those updates. And there will be an update on the anxiety course very soon. So don't wait anymore. You can have a life that is not managed by anxiety. You can have a life that is free from anxiety struggles. And I really want that for you. In the meantime, I would like to say thank you so much for joining me on this program. And I hope that you have found the content useful and that you'll feel inspired to take your next step in this amazing journey. Please do also follow me on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, as this encourages me to create additional content. If you need to keep in touch, I understand. I'm available on the website and by email. As a last word, I want to remind you, anxiety might be part of you, but it's not who you are. Thank you.